right, welcome back. So today we're going to take a look at watermelon. This is a traditional slash conversion into a drag slash. It's one of the first ones that I did from start to finish, and I left it stock Traxxas on the inside. I tried to use as many Traxxas parts as possible, and today you guys are going to see my secrets. Secrets meaning the way that this car launches. I've installed a sound kit into this, and I can literally launch this RC faster than you can pull a trigger. I have it set up on a toggle switch so I can full trigger it, flip a switch, and the thing launches straight every time. And that's because of a sound kit that Traxxas offers with their RCs. When you put it into what they call neutral mode, you can sit there and rev up the car and that kind of stuff. Now, I turn the sound pretty much way down. I can adjust how hard it launches with this sound kit, and basically I pulled the trigger to where I want to take off, to where I have traction, flick the switch, and then pull the trigger either all the way. And I base it off sound on what the sound kit is doing. It wasn't designed to do that, but it's something that I learned early on that you could do. So I installed the sound kit off my 4x4 Slash Platinum that came with a sound kit, and I installed it into this two-wheel drive. So I'll show you how I installed it and what makes it so good using a factory remote. It's really insane. And we'll take a look at the new Losi car. We looked at the Team Associated DR10 yesterday compared to the Losi, and I think everybody would agree that the Losi is just far superior. It's just, for a ready to run, the quality of the build, the way everything's designed, I'm excited to get it out and run it. So, which will be coming soon. I just want to show the different builds and how all this came about, because the DR10 or the Losi, they would have never been built if it wasn't for everybody doing these drag slashes. So if you want to see how easy it is to convert a drag slash, I'll link the video in the description below on how I built this car, and I also have a video on the sound kit. I haven't been able to find that video, but it's in my video history. I haven't really looked for it, but the build of this, I show all the parts used. Now in the video when I built this, I bought Bandit arms, RPM arms that I didn't use. Because this body takes standard arms, I didn't have to use the Bandit arms. I had originally bought axles, shorter axles, and I had bought shorter arms because when I did my Mustang and I did the Nova, you have to run the Bandit arms. But on the Octane body, Proline came out with this Octane line. You don't have to change the arms, and you don't have to modify drive shafts or change drive shafts. You can leave the drivetrain alone, which is awesome, and it saves a bunch of money. So I took that money and put it into the sound kit. If you're gonna buy and convert a drag slash, definitely pay the extra money and get the sound kit, because you can't buy the sound kit for cheap in the aftermarket. It's really an expensive upgrade, but when you get it with the RC, It's relatively cheap. I think it's $50 more. But if you try to buy a sound kit, if you can find one, people are asking $200 for them. And if you get it with the controller, because you'll need the controller as well, you know, you're going to pay $250 for it. So luckily, you know, I had a sound kit and it works great, and that's what makes Watermelon really special. On top of, you know, the messed up paint scheme I did on it that turned out looking like a watermelon. So we're going to get right into this. Let me get the camera up in the air and we'll take a look inside. All right, so let me pop this body off. I am using Proline body mounts. This was a Proline build, and here is what I did with the sound kit. So I cut the brackets off and I mounted it to this body with sound deadening. The reason I add sound deadening, if you don't add any kind of sound deadening to muffle this noise, you'll get a lot of rattling out of the body. And this will just plug right into my receiver and throttle ESC. So here we go. So there's the infamous audio. I plug in right here to the speakers up above. Everything's wired into the receiver box, factory receiver box, as you see, factory VXL system, factory transmission, factory VXL motor. So this is just a VXL system. Now I took the body post and I cut them down and I attached them to the side to keep the body from flapping. And then I added Proline shocks, front and rear. And I did adjust them with fuel tubing on the inside, and really heavy. As you can see, watch this. Watch how slow. I'll turn it sideways so we can get the effect. Watch how slow. So when I'm fully compressed on braking, or I'm on a line and I push the body down and I launch, watch how slow. So by doing that, and it's still going down, by doing that, when I'm on the line and this thing wants to pick up the front, the wheels won't drop down. It'll take forever for the wheels to drop, so that when I do hit the ground, you see, you don't get that huge bounce. It just kind of settles there. And same thing with the rear. As you see, the rear, I have the rear set up pretty soft so that it could squat back and try to lift the heavy wheels. And that's why I run the aluminum wheels. By keeping this weight up front, it really keeps the front end of this thing down, because the front of a Slash is really light. So it's just a little trick that I've done. It took me a while to dial in this RC, and it's basic. Using a factory holder, a factory chassis. Look at my axles. Factory plastic axles. Nothing special about this. The links. Look at the steering link. All plastic. The bell crank. Even the steering servo. All factory. I literally kept this a factory conversion with all factory hardware. And so far, this RC has been dominating everything else I build. I haven't put it up against the Chucksworth RC because I'm still waiting on a wheelie bar for that. That thing goes up into a wheel stand, a crazy wheel stand. And I'm still waiting for some shocks for it. The Proline shocks have been back ordered. I did purchase a wheelie bar for the iRock, which is this wheelie bar, this thin carbon fiber thing. But it's so fragile that it's just going to snap off. And it doesn't mount upright. So I might have to stick this on temporarily, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. But let me get this thing flipped back over. This is Watermelon, a really basic slash build that just works. Don't need to change the electronics, even the factory plug. Running the factory Traxxas plug. I literally built this thing, didn't really do an alignment or anything, and I just run it, and it just works. And it's going to be fun to put Watermelon up against the new Losi. So let me crack the lid to this Losi. The last video, we saw a lot with the Losi, and you can see a bunch of similarities to the way Losi set their chassis up, and I feel Losi being lower to the ground is really going to work better, because I'll show you what I mean. My IROC's in the way. You can see how high the Trax is. The fronts are about the same, and what I like about the Losi, you see how the shocks are in the front? It doesn't allow for the wheels to push too far back. And that's been the big thing when it comes to rubbing bodies and centering that front wheel well, because the shocks are mounted up front. Now Losi took it a step further on their design, because they've mounted these shocks a lot straighter, and the straighter you can get the shocks, the better it's going to launch, and less movement front to back on the wheels. So, but way different setup. This one's set up really slow to come up in the front. The hop is about the same, but it's keeping that weight up front. So I'm going to be curious to see how this springy front end is going to do, because I've noticed that with a springy front end like this, the RC becomes unstable up top, especially under braking. When you try to brake slow down from 60 miles an hour, when it's this springy up front, you have a hard time slowing it down, and it spins sideways and rolls over. Where Watermelon, being as stiff as it is, set it up like a speed car, it's a lot easier to control on braking. Let me get you guys down and we'll take a look at the height difference. All right, so we have the Losi up front right here, and you can see the height difference. The Traxxas really, the chassis sits up a lot higher. Now, the good thing about the Slash, and this is what I want to show everybody. Remember we looked at the DR10 and the wheelbase, the Losi was just a little longer. Well, guess what? The Slash and the Losi are pretty much the same. So there we go. You can see the wheels even in the back and the wheels even in the front. So remember I was telling you about the advantage the longer wheelbase is going to have when it comes to drag racing? I think that's one of the advantages to the Slash versus the DR10. You can get the DR10 to work. It's just a lot harder to get the DR10 to work than it is a Slash conversion versus this Losi. Now, I'm not sure how this Losi is going to launch. I haven't had the pleasure of running the Losi yet. Like I said, this is an unboxing. This was loaned to me by the hobby shop, and that's why I'm not outside beating on it yet. But I did get word. My blue one and my red one have both showed up today. So the plans are tomorrow to get them out, and I'll tear up mine. That's the whole reason I haven't cut or made connectors or any of that stuff, is this is an unboxing. They're letting me look at this thing, demo it. This is the shop's RC. So mine will be coming tomorrow. I think I can pick them up Friday. I think they're at the store already. So I'll be able to pick mine up Friday. So hopefully I'll be able to get some running footage soon. Now they did say I can take this out and run it around. I just can't damage the body. I don't want to put it into a curb. I don't want to tear up the tires. I just don't want to do that stuff. But we will get it outside, and I will do some launches with it. And hopefully I don't flip it or damage it. It's not something I want to do. It's not my RC. And if I do scratch it, then I'll probably end up pulling the body off of mine and giving it to them. So, with all that said, I truly believe that the price point of the Losi as a ready to run, with the way I built Watermelon with the Proline shocks, everything but the wheels and tires, you'd have to buy the plastic wheels and tires, not the metal ones, because those are too expensive. The price would come in still over what you would pay for the Losi. You'll be about $450 into the sound kit in that RC. The way I have it set up with the aluminum wheels, I'm $600 into that RC. Body, low center of gravity, Proline shocks, gearing, wheelie bar, Proline mounts. The sound kit was free because it came off one of my other RCs. But you can buy a two-wheel drive Slash with a sound kit. And that's what I suggest you do. And if you can buy the low center of gravity two-wheel drive Slash, that's a better way of doing it. But to convert, it's $20 for the chassis. It's $20 or $25 for the conversion kit. So, but I still believe that the shocks that are on Watermelon, the way Watermelon is built, I think it's an awesome platform, and I'm loving going to see this Losi try to take down Watermelon. And I believe it has the stuff to do it. I believe it's that well built. Even with the shocks that are on it, I think that it could take down Watermelon. If the ESC and motor have the power, I think it can take it. But we're going to find out soon. I know Watermelon's going to get off the line really quick. I know those times are going to be way down in the 132 foot. Even though the time is consistent with a lot of other RCs out there, it's the reaction that Watermelon gets off the line with that sound kit. And that's what it is. That gives the RC a big advantage. It's out by a couple RC lengths by the time somebody else moves. From the time you see the light to the time you can pull that trigger versus flicking a toggle switch, it's huge. Some would call it cheating. But, you know, you can do it to any RC. They have things you can put in your controller and set it up to a toggle switch to do it that way. I haven't learned it. I did it my way, which is using a sound audio kit on a Traxxas, and it's just awesome. But I really love the looks of this aluminum chassis and the weight difference. It's funny because you would think that this RC would weigh a ton, and it just doesn't. Any weight to this RC is down low, which is going to really stabilize this RC and get you better traction. versus a lighter RC. A lighter RC, you'll have to take a bunch of power out to get it to hook up off the line, or to get the front to throw up to get the weight on the rear wheels to get some sort of traction. And these two RCs side by side, they just, you know, this versus this, I gotta say, with the aluminum wheels on there, the Slash is heavier. With the aluminum wheelie bar, or the metal wheelie bar and the metal wheels, I honestly think that that it's heavier. So, with all that said, there's the Slash setup. You guys caught me. I'm cheating with an audio kit set up on a trigger. But, you know, it is what it is. I think the race between these two, if this thing performs the way I think it's going to perform, I think my Slash has some competition now. But there we go, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys on my next video. I will be comparing this to the Chuckworth RC setup, which is a full modded drag build. And that RC, I think I'm $1,000 to $1,200 into now, versus a $420 Losi ready to run. I'm really impressed with this, guys. There we go. We'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching. Comment down below. What do you think? Who do you think will take it? Watermelon or the new Losi ready to run? Can't wait to see. But we're going to see the DR10 and the Losi go head to head first. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching.